Hello and welcome back to BeamNG Drive, and I am here in the ETK Driver Experience Center, which is one of those maps that you don't see much of, because unless you've played the game you probably don't even know it exists, because it's one of those maps where you remember it every 6 months, and you go there because you're like, oh, I wonder what's here, I can't remember it, and so you go there and then you remember why you have forgotten about it for the past 6 months. And the reason for that is there's not much here. It's not a very big map, not particularly anything interesting. The only thing it's got going for it is the fact that they just sort of redid it. So I pressed map because fancy new features, am I right? This is the entire map. It's got the three quick travel points, as they call them. I literally can't zoom in or out. Oh, I forgot about this feature. Oh, I forgot about that. Wait a second. That's not how roads work. For some reason, they decided to revamp it. They didn't really do much. They just sort of changed some of the textures, updated them. They've also given all the maps PBR textures, so physics-based rendering, which is pretty cool. Doesn't make much of a difference to me because I don't play on a massively high graphics setting, because I like to have the quality of the recording and not just have like 2 FPS. But what is far more interesting is the car I'm driving, because this is a brand new car. It's called the Bruckell Bastion, and basically it's a modern muscle car. I have the Lux 5.7 model here, so all of the versions come with a V8. Well, actually, I think there's some really low spec ones come with a V6, but like most of the copies of the car come with a V8, and some of them go very fast. Those are just about the worst indicators I have ever seen. Like, this is me indicating. Yes, this is me braking. It uses the same light. Like, who thought that would be a good idea? Like, if they did it in real life, that would be ridiculously stupid. I mean, I'm sure there's a car that does this, and that's what they based it off, but it's like, that seems like a really, really bad idea to me. Other than that, it seems like a fairly sensible car. The front indicators are absolutely tiny as well. What about the other lights? That's not... yeah, other lights aren't too bad. It has pretty cool lights at the back. So here we have all the configs, and as you can see, I've made my own one. Because it didn't come with a rally one, so I made one. We've got the really, really terrible ones. There's a taxi. I'm driving this one. Then there's some sportier ones. There's a really weird off-road one. A couple of police ones, some fast ones. There's the one with the really, really big wheel rims. Then you have the Battle Hawks and the Red Tail. And I'm going to get out the Red Tail because it is an utterly undrivable beast. With a gearbox for some reason. They all have automatic because it's an American car, right? Does like every single car in America just have an automatic gearbox? Oh, and this one has the funny ESC options. Like we have Savage, we have Off, Caged, Comfort, Sport, Drift, Savage. And trust me, Off in this car is a bad idea. Because, I mean, I'm driving on water here, but if I could please get off the water, I could demonstrate just how much of a monster this thing is to drive. Nearly managed to keep it together around the corner. But it's got too much power and not enough grip. It's like, this is ridiculous. Who designed this? Let's just put it on comfort. When you put it in comfort, it like muffles the engine. I expected it to slide there, it didn't. But it gets this fancy livery on it, which looks pretty cool, I'm going to be honest. It's got like red tail and it's all of this stuff. Oh, and the interior of it looks pretty nice. The red tail has its own special fancy dashboard with the red stuff on it. Ah yes, it does burn out with ESC on comfort. That's ridiculous. This thing is just insane. But the Bruckell is not the most exciting thing in this update. And what is? Well, that's the car that they've remastered this update. And that's perhaps one of the ones that has been being looked forward to the most. And that is everyone's favourite, the Civetta Bolide. Now, previously we had the 350, this one, the 390 GT, I think. The 350 Plaisir, the Nut, and what's that? I think there was another one somewhere that they've got rid of. Yeah, because you had the 350, 390 GT Police and Not, I think. But now, as you can see, we have a whole load more because they've added the US market version, which has a different bumper and looks worse. And then we have these configs, which look weird. You can see it best on this one. The front bumper just looks weird, and it reminds me of something, and I cannot remember what it is. But there's a bunch more configs for it, and it has this one, the 320 GTR Group 5, which is the most ridiculously undrivable thing ever, because it has just under 600 horsepower and not enough control, shall we say. It is an undrivable monster. There's also a couple of rally configs, and of course we have this one, and this is the one I'm going to get in because it's amazing. And when the thing loads, yes, we have a totally not Castrol livery, and if we go around the back, you can see we have that big. Wait, is it really a wing, or is it just that sort of table stuck on the back of the car? And we have on the back that looks like this. You have the grille, engine at the bottom. You can see the engine down there, and the exhaust coming outside. Yeah, they've just made the 037 into a Italian supercar. I mean, it sort of nearly was, but we have the 037 replica config, which is very cool because I love the 037. Just a shame I can't drive the car because it's got a lot of horsepower and not a lot of control. Because it's rear wheel drive, and the big spoiler is not the most downforce producing thing ever. It does require a certain amount of concentration, and the braking it wanders, and you touch the throttle going around the corner, and you're going something around the corner than you intended. So this thing has the full wide body kit on it. It is a proper thick machine. Like, we're fine, we're going very fast. And we're going sideways. And I might take this thing to the old test track, but like, it kills you. So you use more than 2% of the power, you are now having a crash. It's not a great thing to drive. Like, I'm barely managing to keep it driving in a circle. And we've spun it out again. Like, who thought this was drivable? I think the answer is no one. I think they built this thing. The Beam devs were just like, you know what, let's make it completely and utterly unusable, just for the fun of it. so we can watch all those noobs try and drive it and fail. And then even the pros have difficulty with this monster. It just snaps so much. It snaps and it understeers and it oversteers and it wanders and it snaps. But they also added a targa roof for it, which is pretty cool. You can get all the air in your face as you're driving along, because why would you not want to have your hair messed up? And so I have the 390 GT Targa. Hopefully I can drive this one. Apparently I can't. Apparently I can't even drive the really less powerful one. That's kind of disappointing. So they also slightly tweaked the shape of the body, not massively significant things, just some minor stuff. And the interior they redid. Not that I remember the old one much, but I've not something you want to drive from inside. You kind of need to see where you're going and see what the car is doing at the back, which you can't do from inside. But it looks pretty nice. On the update notes they said this was a small update, and I mean, some parts of the update are small, like the revamp of this map. That's tiny, no one cares about it. But the fact they added an entire new car, which is not a bad car I must say, and revamped one of the most hyped cars, well I say most hyped, the one people were looking forward to being revamped, one of the most, and then said, yeah, it's a small update. It's like, are you sure? Are you sure, Beam? Seems like a slightly more major update to me, but I guess it's up to them really. So all in all, this update is pretty nice. Now I have to park the car. This is not going to go well. Perfect. Couldn't have done it better.